Hello, everybody, and welcome to our collaborative conversation for virtual learning grades 5 and 6. This is Karen Matso from Demonstrated Success, and I will help moderate this webinar today. I hope you're all doing really well. I hope you had a productive day, and we're really looking forward to this webinar. So welcome. Here we have all of our magnificent teachers. We have Callie Iardi. Callie, do you want to correct my pronunciation?
It's Iardi.
Iardi.
Yeah.
Callie Iardi. Okay, and she is, and you can give a wave. She is a 5th grade teacher at Epping Elementary School. Allison Bates is also a 5th grade teacher at Epping Elementary School. And Krista Woolley is a 6th grade teacher at Rochester Middle School. And Connie Studer is also a 6th grade teacher at Rochester Middle School. And these guys have some interesting backgrounds and a lot of awesome experience. And we are tremendously grateful to them for sharing some of what they've been learning lately with their colleagues in New Hampshire. So thank you to all of you. I'm assuming you have you all waved? So you can see Krista, Callie, and Allison and Connie right here. And there's Mike Schwartz. He is our president of Demonstrated Success, and he's going to help us out today. And Mike and I will be monitoring questions. You have a control panel on the right-hand side, and there is a place to monitor, to write in questions down under questions, and there's also a chat. So all of you are on mute because there is at least 100, probably we'll get up to about 150 people. We've had so many people on these webinars. So everybody is on mute for the course of the webinar, and you can write in questions and we will interrupt our presenters and ask them. And then at the end of the webinar, I'm going to go ahead and unmute anybody that really wants to have a chat and maybe share what they're doing or ask an additional question. Mike and I really want to say thank you to the New Hampshire Department of Ed. They have been very supportive of these webinars, and we're doing these webinars in concert with them. Caitlin Davis is the head of the division that is helping us to do these webinars. And we very much want to thank all of you for your dedication to all of your students. You, as a group of human beings in the state of New Hampshire, have worked so hard in the last week. We have spoken to hundreds of teachers in the last week, and everyone is working so hard to stretch their boundaries and learn new things to support their students at their homes and while juggling families and lots of other things. So thank you so much for all the work that you're doing. Mike, did you want to add anything?
Nope. Just thank you, Karen, and thank you to all the presenters for taking the time to help all the other teachers in the state, as well as all the teachers for all the work you're doing. Thanks, Karen.
Okay. All right, so Callie and Allison are going to start. They're going to tell us some background around what's happening in Epping and have at it.
All right. Hi, everybody. My name is Callie, as Karen mentioned. Allison and I are a team of 5th grade teachers at Epping. We wanted to start out with a couple of things we thought would be important for you to know before we really get going here. Our elementary school is a K-5 school, so some of you may actually have middle school students. We still have elementary school students. We have four 5th grade teachers split into 2 teams. So Allison and I both have our own homeroom, and then we share our students. So I teach them math and science. Allison teaches social studies and ELA. The way that we switch allows all of our students to receive a math class and an ELA class every day, and then they alternate between social studies and science each day. So because of that, we are kind of used to splitting up the work and sharing what we're doing with our team, which has helped us a lot in this process. We would also like to recognize that we know that we are privileged in this scenario that none of us have young school-age children that we need to be worrying about at home on top of teaching our students. So we wanted to switch over to kind of our approach to what we've been doing. Perfect, thank you, Karen. So we believe that we need to remember that our students are people before they can be learners. This process has been very overwhelming. It's kind of coming in waves, and we feel like we're doing pretty well so far, but things are changing day to day. So we're just hoping that we can give you some advice and tips and tricks. We do not expect that any of you are going to be able to copy exactly what we're doing. You know your students best, you know your community best. So we're just hoping we can kind of give you some things that maybe here and there you could take a few things with you. We are in a community where many of our students, especially those that are the older sibling in their family, we are aware that they are taking on some new roles at home right now. So we're really trying to find a balance of giving them some structure, trying to keep things as similar to school as possible, but we're not trying to do a ton of things that are brand new. We're really trying to focus on keeping things that we were doing in the classroom and just keep going with what we were already doing. We're not really trying to bring in new resources. That being said, we are lucky that we have one-to-one technology in our classrooms. So many of the resources we're able to use in this process are things that we already have and the kids are already familiar with. So we understand that that may not be the same case for you. But some of the resources we were using, we really enjoy and have found to be really user-friendly and easy for the kids. So maybe you could take some of those on. And our last thing going in is remembering that we are really a team. We have had to accept that we're probably not going to be able to reach all of our students. We do have a few that have not shown us that they are working on school stuff at home right now. And in our community in Epping, that is something that is going to be hard for us, but it's also something that we might have to just worry about later when we get back to school. So we're trying to use our team as best we can, and remember, as much as possible, the parents are a teammate too. So make sure while you're trying to communicate with your kids, you're also letting parents know that you're there for them. Several of our parents have felt like they've had to become homeschool teachers. They don't. They need to still be parents. They need to still support their kids. And we need to remind them that they need to leave the teaching for us, and it's all going to be okay. So with that, I'm going to pass it off to Allison, who's going to talk a little bit about some tips and tricks for families and how we get our days started.
Thanks, Callie. So going off of what Callie said about us wanting to keep it simple and provide stability and consistency to all of our families and our students as much as possible, we tried to create some tools that would make this a little bit easier for both the students and their families, and also for us. So the first thing that we created was a home learning guide. And the guide basically explains our expectations to families and students about remote learning, where to find assignments every day, where to go in the on their Google Classrooms to check both mine and Callie's Google Classrooms, how to keep track of assignments. We suggested that students write down their assignments from Google Classroom into their assignment notebooks or planners. It also talks about when our morning meetings will occur. And finally, when our video conferencing hours, and that's the next slide, Karen. Yep. When our video conferencing office hours are and what that would look like for each one of us. I think it's important to point out that both of us have a different approach to our video conferencing. While we're both doing a morning meeting every morning with our students, we have decided on different ways to offer video conferencing to help our students with their learning. Callie is on Google Meet from 10 to 12 every day with her co-teacher Sam to give students support with math and science, and they've opened it up as a open time where kids can just pop in and they just provide the code. However, I have decided to do video conferencing by appointment only because the feedback that I need to provide for my students for ELA and for writing is specific to each student and needs to really be given privately to have them get the most out of it. So the other tool that we created for both ourselves and for families is we tried to help provide families with a suggested home learning schedule. And that's on the next slide. Thank you. So we emailed this out to families and suggested that families create their own home learning schedule to help students to develop a consistent routine, just like they had in school. We all know that they're more likely to complete work if they're being consistent and doing it every single day. So that home learning schedule included things like when they were going to be up and ready and dressed, when outside time, when they could complete unified arts projects. And also I made sure that to talk about including movement breaks, things like yoga, or things that are going to help them to refocus and reset if they're feeling stressed or burnt out from all the academic work, but making sure they leave time for those things as well. And then on the right, you'll see my personal home learning schedule, which I also shared with the kids and pointed out that I scheduled in things like lunch and yoga so that they can see that I was also doing those things as well. I also put into my schedule,
Okay.
an end time for both me and the kids because I'm a big believer in self-care. And I think with how accessible technology is to us, it's so easy for us as teachers and as learners to continue and just go throughout the day. But we need to make sure that we are taking time for the other important things like our families and going outside and other things that we enjoy. So I made sure I pointed that out, not just to the kids, but also to the families as well. And then the very last thing on that slide is one of the ways that I'm trying to also promote these focus breaks or brain breaks is by posting, I have a homeroom Google Classroom page, and on that page, I'm posting things like yoga PowerPoints and other fun things they can do. I actually am going to post tomorrow a Mo doodling activity from YouTube, just ways that they can express themselves and relax.
That's awesome. The Mo Willems doodling?
Yeah, Mo Williams.
Yeah.
Yep, he's doing the lunchtime doodles or whatever.
Yeah, he is. Okay, thanks.
And then the other piece of this was we really wanted to make sure that our students are engaged and going on to Google Classrooms every day. So we wanted to create materials that are going to make them excited to go on every day and to see us. So in the piece of reaching out to our students just as people. So every day I am recording a morning message with Google Meet and then posting it to a YouTube channel and then to my Google Classroom. And in the meeting, the kids, tell them how my day is going. Sometimes I wear funny outfits to get them to want to be on and see me. I share my screen with them, and I usually try to teach them how to do some sort of skill that's going to help them be successful with remote learning. The other day, I taught them how to create emojis, and then they were able to put those emojis into their comments to help them express their feelings. And then the other thing that we're doing is posting our read alouds of books that we were already reading in our classrooms to give them that sense of normalcy. And we're also trying to have our pets join us in those read alouds. So again, the kids really enjoy that, and they sometimes even bring in their pets in our morning meetings.
Yeah, read alouds is one. If you check with your library people, most publishing companies have relaxed their copyright laws, so you are able to post. I just know they are slightly different. Some of them kind of require a shout out at the beginning of the video or one required me to send an email just to tell them that I was going to be doing this. So definitely check with your school librarian about that, because the kids have really enjoyed that.
So I'm not gonna play the videos, but these are both live videos, and when you get the PowerPoint, you can play them. But Callie does do a shout out to Scholastic before she reads, so I was noticing that, and she welcomes her cat Atticus into the experience. Thanks, you guys.
All right, so diving into the academic piece, Atticus again making an appearance there as well. So for math, as Allison and I mentioned earlier, because our grade is broken up into 2 teams of 2, I have been working with our other math and science teacher, Samantha, to be creating our math content. So we have been posting a video per day that either she or I will record. So we're kind of both now teaching the whole 5th grade, which has actually been really fun. So we're keeping it very, very short, 10-minute maximum. We know the kids aren't going to want to watch for too long. And we also know one of the great things with posting a video is that if we explain something and they don't quite get the example, they can pause it and watch it again and from there. So we've been posting a video and then having them do some work on IXL, an awesome website that breaks up grade levels and skills and has hundreds of skills per grade level. So the little panel below there is just a little sample where I can go in as the teacher and highlight. So these are the skills that they worked on this week. We asked them to work for about 20 minutes. We're not designing it to be too complicated. And the website also automatically tracks their progress. It tells me how long they worked. It actually shows me exactly what questions they were asked and what their answers were. So I can go back through and kind of see, based on their progress, where they may have been struggling so that I can offer some reteaching opportunities still, which has been really, really helpful. So one thing we're doing for engagement through math specifically is we use a game at school called Prodigy, where the kids create these wizard characters and they go on and they battle other wizards by answering math questions. This is a great website as well because it also allows me to create assignments where I can target what questions they will be getting during those battles. So I have aligned the content on Prodigy to match up with our videos and their work from IXL as more practice. We also have characters as teachers. And so each day we pick a new world to go to and we embed within the assignment or even in the video at the end where we are going to be in Prodigy and at what time. So if the kids have completed their assignment and actually watched the video and read all of the directions, they'll be able to come on and play us in the game. And a lot of them have really been enjoying that as a way to kind of have that accountability piece to keep them going. So that's been really fun for everybody. All right, so moving on to science.
Callie, just one sec. So here on the left-hand side, you're giving a live video instruction. That's a whiteboard up there, right?
I had to get a little creative. I actually had to put a piece of poster board behind the window in my living room and then sit on the side of a chair to be in the right height. But yeah, I tried to use it as a whiteboard, but Atticus likes to be a watch cat and look out the window, so he was not happy that it was blocked.
Atticus is looking good. So, but you basically, it's a videotape of you conducting a lesson, which is fabulous. I have a question. What was the name of the app that has the wizards? Is that the one that is Prodigy?
Yes, that's Prodigy. Yep.
Yes. Okay, great.
So you can create classrooms in there. Again, you can curate the content that kids are using. I found it pretty user-friendly once I got started and kind of got used to where things were. So,
is it free right now?
I do believe so. Yeah, we use a free version of it.
Mm-hmm. And IXL is something that you probably had before we left school, correct?
Yeah, so everything website-wise that we are having the kids use are websites that we're already using at school. So we really haven't introduced anything new in that way, which I think has been pretty helpful. But I know with IXL, is our school was only using it for ELA and math, and they actually do have science and studies lessons and practice modules, and they opened that up for free during this home learning time as well.
Oh, great.
And I've actually used those for social studies as well.
Okay. Have you made any special accommodations for kids with internet issues?
Yes, so as a school, the biggest thing that we did was we reached out and let parents know if they have any sort of technology access issue, that they can let us know, and we were able to pull, I think it was about 125 Chromebooks that families could come to school and sign out to be able to borrow and use. Some families got them because they don't have the technology at home. Others were able to sign up for them because they have multiple students, and trying to have 3 or 4 kids even on one Chromebook and get their schoolwork done every day was a challenge. So again, like I mentioned, as 5th grade, we do have one-to-one technology, and that has definitely been something that we're fortunate to have. As far as Wi-Fi and that sort of internet access, there are several companies that are offering free Wi-Fi services for students and families right now. So I would check with your technology departments. I know there was one that I saw that I looked into, and it wasn't available in our area, but I know there are a few that our tech department has flagged that could be used by families. So those resources are out there as well.
Great, thank you.
All right, so for our science this week, we've been doing kind of more of a long-term project, and we have been breaking it up into pieces and recommending that students do, there's 4 parts. We've been recommending they do 1 part every 2 days. So they were asked to watch a small, like I think it's 4 slides, PowerPoint on this idea of life inside a dome. We were excited about this activity because it ties both back to our space unit that we did in the fall and forward to our environmental science unit that hopefully we will be able to work towards later in the spring. So the concept is just that there is a dome, which is a real place actually in Arizona, where they are trying to see if they can sustain a population totally secluded in the dome for 2 years in preparation for could there be life on Mars. So we've had the kids just kind of see what they come up with and have some ideas. We're using mystery science, which we use at school already. So they're pretty familiar with the structure of lessons and activities with that. I also included a link at the bottom here. If you don't already use mystery science, or if you do, they have curated an entire page where they have listed what they think are their easiest lessons for kids to do on their own at home. So I just threw that in there because they've split it out by grade level, and they have a good selection of both short 15-minute tasks as well as their full 45-minute lessons. And again, those are the ones that mystery science has decided are the easiest for kids to kind of do on their own and are probably able to do with, if there's projects and things, it's probably with materials that they already have at the house.
That's great. I like your directions are very clear and specific, and I think that's very helpful.
All right, so I'm going to talk a little bit about our ELA and how my teacher and I have set this up. I'm going to acknowledge right away that I'm very lucky to have another teacher on my team who specializes in just teaching ELA and social studies. And as Callie mentioned, being able to split it up, the work up, and work together to teach the entire 5th grade ELA and social studies has been really helpful. So our approach to ELA and social studies has been that we want to allow students to work at their own pace, because we felt that those subjects do allow for kids to be able to move on when they're ready. So to do that, for reading, we are having students read for 20 minutes every day, a book of their choice. We've also told them that they can use Epic if they would like to choose a book from there. And Epic allows, does read the books aloud to students, does have that option. And then they answer a weekly reading response on their book every week by Friday. So they can, we've talked to them about, they can read, if they want to read for 100 minutes one day and then answer the reading response, that's fine. If they want to spread it up and do it, reading it every day, that's fine as well, as long as they complete the work by the end of the week. And they complete that reading response on Google Classroom, which we'd already been doing. And then for writing, we used, we went online and looked at Storyworks, because they have a ton of written responses and debates, and they already have forms and resources available for teachers. And we actually created our own form as from using their form as a template to help students write an opinion essay. And the reason we chose the opinion essay was because this is something that kids are already used to writing, that we felt didn't need a ton of reteaching, but something that they could complete on with relatively little help. But it's something that we're going to be moving toward in the future, hopefully. So what we did was we decided to have them write an opinion essay on the topic of whether students learn better at home or whether they learn better in a traditional school setting, which we thought was an authentic experience. We talked so much about creating projects that are authentic to kids, that we thought this was a perfect opportunity to do this. And it also allows the students to really express their feelings and opinions about our current situation in a safe environment that they can get feedback from me. So we actually also broke this writing piece up into steps and small chunks, just like Callie and Sam are doing for math. And for each one of those steps, we took turns creating video lessons on each step. For example, I created a video lesson on just how to write a topic sentence. And then I am also responsible for teaching social studies. Karen, can you please switch to the next slide?
Oh, sorry.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's okay.
I was thinking about Brain Pop, because I know Brain Pop can be used for that. So
yeah. So social studies, we also created a 2-week project based on a topic that we had already finished in our classes prior to home learning. And we asked them to read about that topic again, to watch videos on it using Brain Pop, and to read articles about it using a website called Studies Weekly, which we already had a subscription to, because we get a paper copy of the newspaper, and it comes with an online version that kids can go on, have the articles read to them. They can play games about that social studies content, which the kids have really enjoyed. They can actually, for each article they read, they earn coins that then they can use those coins to buy different furniture for a rat called Rev in a cage, and they love it. It's such a, I don't know why they chose a rat for the social studies, but then they also have been using IXL as well to practice. But once we had them read about and refresh their memory about their topic, then we're allowing them to create a project of their choice, like a video, a poster, whatever they're comfortable with as a learner and whatever their strengths are, to showcase what they learned about that topic. And then we create a checklist for them to use as a guide for what they need to include in that project.
Allison, in the upper right corner of the page, and then what last one also, it says 100 points. Is that something that you've set up for the kids? Is it relevant?
No, so that is actually the points that, because you can use Google Classroom to grade each assignment.
Okay.
I don't actually use that because we don't use points in our grading system. We don't use 100 system. But the kids know that's not, they don't have to worry about that.
Okay, but that comes up automatically. That's
Yeah, in Google Classroom.
Got it.
It gives you the option to change the points. I could change it to 4 points.
Okay, I understand.
Yeah, we're not really grading anything at the moment. We're still in such an adjustment phase for all of this. A lot of what we're providing really is just the feedback. Kids are just having some activities, having a little bit of structure, trying to do something that feels like school, and mostly, hopefully, just exploring with these activities. We're really not having high expectations on their academic performance right now, just because this is such a new experience for everybody. We're just trying to keep things as normal as we can without too much pressure.
Yeah, and my goal is to give them just really good feedback on their work, individualized feedback. And if that's what I can do to help move them forward as a learner, then that's what I will do.
Have you two thought ahead to having the kids give each other feedback, like on their written work, or having them share math problems, or are you not up there? Are you not there yet?
So I'm not there yet, but I feel like, especially for me with their writing, it would be easy for them to share their Google Docs with another student, or have share it with another student, because I have that ability through Google Classroom, that then they would be able to provide comments and feedback.
Yep.
It's not there yet.
Got it.
Yeah, I think if we were to do that, we would do it as a Google Hangout with a small group, with either of us really leading that charge.
I think that sounds ideal.
Yeah.
Okay. So Connie and Krista, welcome. Do you want to turn on your cams just for a second so that everyone can see you?
There you go.
And then I will hide them. Okay.
Okay. So, you ready?
Yes.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. We are excited. Krista
Yeah,
and
well,
Connie
I've had
are
a
from
lot of
Rochester.
I've had a lot of technology issues. I'm Connie Studer. I teach 6th grade English language arts at RMS, Rochester Middle School, which is a fairly large middle school in Rochester, about 950 kids. I teach on a team with 3 other individuals plus a special education teacher, and we were assigned a paraprofessional. So we have quite the team here. Mrs. Woolley here, Krista Woolley, is my teammate. She teaches social studies. And really, this has been a Herculean team effort. I cannot stress the team part enough. We have been on our Google chat with each other constantly since this started. We are talking to each other all the time. If you're in a classroom by yourself, I taught 5th grade for 20 years in an elementary school. And if you're in that position, I bet this is a little frightening. And I would go to these other people that teach, and I'd start dividing it out a little bit, because you cannot do it all. I am grateful for Krista's help as our team leader as well. So she interfaces with the entire community of Rochester Middle School for our team, because there's like 100 teachers at our school. So we're a huge enterprise, and we're a very different setup. We're 2 UAs a day, 4 classes a day, middle school setup, where kids are moving around all day long. So right off the bat, we started trying to figure out a way to condense, and this is our first day today where our remote learning announcements page, which is our team page, which we piggybacked and used our old Blizzard bag page. So most of the kids have the class. And here's where we do our morning announcements, and we're trying to condense it all into one place. Our principal does morning announcements. That's that YouTube. We have a check-in of Google Forms to do some type of attendance to see who's showing up. Apparently today we got 50 kids. That's awesome. Our remote learning schedule for those people who need a schedule. You don't have to work within these times, but a lot of people needed that. So we did that, put everything in there, gave them a schedule. It tells them when we're available, when they should be watching our videos, but some of them can't do it during that time and have to work around it. So we have a lot of, you'll see. Let's move on from here. Because here's our class, our daily schedule. So this kind of helps our students. It reminds me a lot of what the earlier team had. We have, but I don't give them my schedule. So that's the difference between middle school and elementary school. They don't need my schedule. But here's their schedule, and we have times twice a day where we're interfacing with them on Zoom. That's the platform that we are using. Google Hangouts was not effective for a number of reasons, muting each other's mics, giving each other the finger, it's middle school. So it just didn't work. So we went to Zoom where we have more control. And that's what you see down in here, a bunch of please check the subject, the Google Classroom for a link. You'll be able to see, start with Williams, and maybe he'll be able to help. We've got, and then next page. We also see, have you checked in? What are you doing? How are we managing attendance? Well, this is one of our ways. We are also trying with our whole team, as well as administration, to use a gigantic Google spreadsheet to not only see who's doing our Google Classroom check-in, but who's doing any work. Like, is anybody, like we have kids who have checked in on every single chat, but they haven't done a single thing. So we're trying to get a handle on not only who's physically present, but who's doing the work as well.
Just to check with what you're saying, so this information is going into a massive Google spreadsheet for the whole grade level.
No, this check-in is just for our team.
Oh, okay.
And then we report in that information to a spreadsheet that's just our team that then goes to administration, and they deal with the whole school. Got it.
That's very creative oversight.
Yeah, well, it's a work in progress. Here we have, as a team, we're using the document, who contacted whom, that contacted first week via phone or email. That was a heroic effort on the part of our school to reach every single student via phone, email as a last resort. And really, with about maybe 20 exceptions in the entire school, we reached everyone. We talked to everybody. And that was a heroic effort. And now we're just trying to keep track of attendance. These are our earlier attempts. And then we went to the Google form, which is much easier. And we've even perfected that by adding their first and last name to it. So it'll be even easier for us.
Okay. You adapted, you iterated.
Yeah, well, all the time. And then maybe you can't tell, but I'm the morale officer on our team. I'm kind of the team mascot. And I do an outdoor post every single morning from outside. I have to admit, I made a YouTube channel, and I put it out public for everybody. At first it was private, now it's public, because now it's not just my team, it's my team, several classrooms, a lot of individuals, previous students, my mother. So all these people are watching these videos, and I have to, they're like 3-4 minutes long, and I don't know, everybody says I'm a hoot.
Can I play a little of it?
Sure.
It's fun.
Good morning, Colby College. I'm out here on the ground today. You can't see it but you can see the trees up behind me way up high because I'm way down low. See, I'm here on the ground today. And I'm here on the ground today because I'm looking for things. I'm looking for things on the ground. You'd be surprised what you can find out here on the ground. And there's so many things. So, like right here, on these leaves are all these little tiny, let's see if I can like make it happen for you so you can see this leaf. Can you see this leaf? I'll point to it so I can see it. There we go. Can you see this leaf? Can you see all the stuff that's on this leaf?
Okay, fabulous.
Yeah, they're all kind of like that. Today I went out to a vernal pool. I found some salamanders in my basement under my wood pile today. So tomorrow it's going to be about salamanders and releasing them back under the leaf litter. So
I think it's a very nice way to remind kids that they don't have to be in front of the computer all day, and that there's a lot of exciting stuff going on outside, right in their backyard or in the woods or.
exactly. And I really have tried hard to connect them to the outdoors throughout the years. And now I'm going to I think that, is this mine? Oh, this is mine too. Sorry, Krista, you're just sitting there. I don't know why. I combine lessons, I video myself teaching them. It's not complicated. I took down all my maps in here and I just have a flat surface that I stick paper up on. I use my wife's music stand as a place to hold the camera while I'm videoing myself. I put them all on YouTube. Best platform to share videos, in my opinion. It's easy to use, and I can keep track. Like all these kids are saying, oh, I watched your video. No, you didn't. No, you didn't. Only 9 people watched my video. And then one of the kids was like, oh, but you know, YouTube doesn't count all of that. Yeah, it does up to 300. So the first 300 hits are free. You just get them. So, and it also has analytics that show you how long, like, oh, they watched it for 35 seconds. So I just think that YouTube offers some really good stuff that is for people who are trying to monetize, but for us, it's really good oversight. I use everything that we've used in my own classroom. I use the Pearson Online Success Net in my room. It's not great, but it allows the students access to our textbook. I think that's it on that slide.
I've got some positive reinforcement for you. Kelly wants you to know that she loves your outdoor messages, and that at school she's always outside, but she hadn't thought of taking the kids outside virtually. So she's grateful.
Excellent. Excellent.
Okay. Well, that's great. And I thank you. The things that you've introduced are straightforward and accessible and great. So thank you. But there's more.
Oh, yeah. Well, then this is just the last one. I'm trying to instill some community, doing a read aloud, like not with a lot of success. I love it. The 7 kids who show up love it. That being said, it's 7 out of 75.
Okay. They don't know what they're missing because Jim Dale is the best reader to walk the face of the earth.
Actually, I read it.
Okay.
This was just a picture. I'm not the best reader on the face of the earth.
Okay.
But I'm not bad.
Well, Susan Cooper's pretty good. I'm sure you're good. And just for the populace out there, the Harry Potter books are read by Jim Dale, and it's amazing. So,
next slide, I believe, is Krista.
Krista, you are up.
Okay, can we, there we go. So I teach social studies. I'm the team leader, and I agree with Connie. Like, we're all so complementary to each other. You can see Connie's energy. If you were with us in person, you would know that I'm the type A organizer, and she's the one to go to for all the fun stuff. In social studies, what we've always done, which is nice, is we have a warm-up that is today in history. And if you look at this example that I posted a video reminding them to try to gather research and then summarize. A lot of them, once they were home, I was finding they would go to a website and they would cut and paste information, and then they couldn't really synthesize what they had read. So I tried to make a point of posting a video. Again, same process that Connie has gone through. I posted a video reminding them. I really want them to work on research and synthesizing and elaborating and adding details. And if they don't know what a website said, pick a different website. And this is nice because it's all stuff that we've worked on in class already. We're lucky that our whole community is one-to-one. So that's all from there. Same sort of thing that Connie mentioned. We did have a lot of kids aren't watching the video at first. We had a team leader meeting yesterday, and it's one of those things that I urge everybody to keep in mind, which was our principal said, take your normal expectations and cut them in half, and then go ahead and cut them in half again. You were not going to see the same amount of engagement that we usually do, and that's okay, because maybe they're going outside like Connie's recommending, or they're doing something else. Because of that, what we did that's not normal for our team is, if you had looked at that schedule that was posted at one point, we've switched to red and white days. We usually see the kids every day, and we switched to Connie and I are the red day teachers. We thought that social studies and ELA were complementary. That two of our teammates are doing science and math on the alternating days, and we think that's really enough. Our team decided not to require the students to come into a Zoom session or Google Hangout session to watch us do direct instruction. We are all videotaping our direct instruction. We tell the students it's just as if we were standing in front of them in the classroom. We're explaining to them the same way that we always would, and they are allowed to access that video. So if you see my warm-up thoughts, they are allowed to access that whenever they have time, as long as by the next time our class is in session, they've completed the work. So any red day work that was started on Monday should have been completed by today, which was their next red day, and we're working really hard on making sure that they have time. If you go to the next slide. Can we go to the next slide?
Mm-hmm. The next again?
It's not moving for me. Oh, there we go.
So
okay,
let me just, Chris, there was one before this. Let me,
okay.
Did you need this one? Or are you ready for the next?
Well, actually, this one's fine. It speaks to what Connie had talked about for a moment. We had tried Google Hangouts, and the problem with Google Hangouts that I do understand Google has worked on changing even since then. The problem with Google Hangouts is once we kind of opened that door, the door was always open and our students could come and go from the session without us present. We were not able to mute them. They could do things to each other, things like that. So our team chose to completely switch over to Zoom. And we use Zoom for our sessions with the students.
Got it.
So this is an example of my social studies work from Monday. It just so happened that we were going to watch a movie anyway, and so it was kind of disappointing for me because it's a great movie. It's working towards a writing assignment. It was wrapping up a concept of trying to convince somebody in history to stop their need for revenge that they had been set on. And so what I chose to do, if you look at, well, I have a direct instruction video. Right underneath that, it says pause points, and I did set up multiple pause points during the video, where if we had been in my classroom, I would have paused the movie and I would have given the students some information. So I know that it was difficult for them probably to toggle back and forth. It's all kind of a work in progress. But I told them stop and start points on the movie, and I've actually had pretty good feedback from them on that so far.
That's great.
I don't know if we have another slide or not. I do not remember.
Oh, the Zoom one.
Oh, right. Yeah, I mean, all I would really urge anybody to do, you can see on this example, which is nice, that there are different teachers going in, and we have, because of the special ed needs on team, we have paraprofessionals that are assigned to our team all the time. So what those paraprofessionals are doing, are they're setting up Zoom sessions throughout the day that are chances for students to work with them on some of the assignments if they're finding it more difficult. That's also what our teacher Zoom sessions are, because our direct instruction was already provided via video. So every Zoom session we have is actually a question and answer time, and it's time to help them with work if they need it. And we have 4 or 5 of those a day, plus our special ed teacher all day long, because of special ed requirements. She's meeting one-on-one with the students all day long and providing SDI to the students in 15-minute Zoom sessions throughout the day. So we have a lot of Zoom sessions going on.
So your paraprofessionals are, because we have a question here about support from paraprofessionals. Your paraprofessionals are supporting on individual Zoom sessions mostly?
Yes.
Yep. Yes.
Yep. Got it.
So they are, it's an open forum where anybody can join in. We have already set up guidelines with the students that they may request a one-on-one session with any of us, and we'll do our best to meet that need, as well as the fact that they can just send us emails throughout the day that we could answer quickly. But I've had a couple of parents reach out and say, hey, could you give my kid a call? They're really struggling, and probably to hear your voice and some soothing words would be good. We make sure that we're available for that. We make sure that we'll set up a one-on-one session with a student if they request it. And we have 75 kids, and actually they've been extremely patient and reasonable with us. And they come into the sessions and they really do just reserve that one-on-one time for when they feel they need it.
That's great. I have a question here about the online journaling for students.
Oh, I do. I have both an online journal, and I just put that one in because I've said to them from the beginning, every English teacher from now forever is going to ask you to write about this, so take notes. So they have to keep a journal. And I have some kids, and I made one for them to just go into Google and click on it, makes a copy for them. I made a sample for them, and they can do that. But most who are doing a journal have their own hand journal, because I showed them in my video all my hand drawn journals, and I have, like, I don't know, years and years of them. And I think they were impressed by that. And so most of them have a hard copy journal.
Are they photographing and sending to you?
Most of them are photographing pieces. I am not super on top of the journal because I can't be. I just can't be. They show it to me. They are dying to show me their journals. They hold them up to the camera and I say, oh, isn't that awesome? I can't read that. But I give them all this positive feedback and they're very happy about it. But I have a couple who are doing them online and I make comments to them online, and that's helpful. I'm going to put out a Google form and see who's doing it and see who even, and I know some kids lie, but others won't.
Yeah.
Mine is done differently. Mine is done differently. They had good old composition books in my room that they did warm-up journals in. I did turn that into a Google Doc so that when I put it into Google Classroom, I set it to make a copy for each student. I set up a template on a weekly basis that they are supposed to be filling in on a daily basis in their journal. I do check it. One of the things that Connie alluded to earlier is us really trying to stay on top of who's engaged with us right now and who's not. And we started with that attendance form that you could see, but like Connie mentioned, we added in every subject And we shared that with admin and guidance. And so they are actively looking for who is not checking in at attendance and who has not done any work. And they are making a point of reaching out to them. And we're doing that too. When we had some downtime today, I made a couple of phone calls, but it's nice to have that spreadsheet set up. It's an extra step for us, but it allows us to see at a glance who maybe is slipping through the cracks so that they can be checked in with.
It's a lot to organize right now.
And as you can see, Krista's the organizer on our team. I have learned much from her this past week. And I would really want to put a shout out to Matt Gray and Brandon Williams, who work with us. And really, Matt is the master of the technology. And Brandon is just on that phone after the kids go. You know, we work together. There's 4 of us.
It's great that you're on a team and that your teamwork is so positive. It's a real boon right now.
Yes, it is.
It feels like different people's strengths are really coming to light, and you have a very well-equipped team, it sounds like.
Yeah, we're blessed. I agree.
Our students know that we all like each other, that we legitimately all like and appreciate each other. In previous years, they've turned us into family characters where I'm the mom who's taking care of everything and Miss Studer's the fun aunt and all that sort of thing. But it definitely complements each other really well.
It makes a tremendous difference for kids and the overall climate of your team, I'm sure. It's beautiful. How about the UA teachers? Do you have any ideas about how are they connecting with kids right now, or you're not there yet?
Well, I don't know what they're doing, but they have classrooms and kids are supposed to be going.
Okay. So
I can speak to that.
Go for it, Krista.
I can speak to that a little bit. They do, because we are one-to-one, they do all have, and starting today, we're new UAs. I mean, starting Monday, we're new UAs for all the students. So all those teachers do have Google Classrooms. One of the things Rochester has done is set up Wi-Fi spots via buses, as well as try to help parents get connected with the internet if they weren't already. But in the same way that we're trying to absolutely minimize who got sent home with a packet and try to maximize the amount of students that can get online and engage with the teachers and the assignments online.
When you say they're adding internet through buses, are they providing portable hotspots?
Yes, they are.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. I'm thinking that we should probably do a webinar on how UA teachers are interacting. That would be a good one. I have a couple questions here. One is, what are title teachers doing? Do you any title teachers on your teams?
No.
This is open to all 4 of you. No?
Hello, we're back. We as a school, we were actually talking about this as a team this morning. We do unfortunately feel like our title support and special ed support has kind of become the last piece of our puzzle, but we're ready to start diving into that. And so we have invited our Title I professionals into our Google Classrooms as co-teachers. We're going to be working on doing the same with all of our case managers so that they can create assignments that they can, through the Google Classroom, design and send directly to the students that they work with. And one of the things that we have decided as a school is, we were thinking about in our average school day, if you have a student who is working with a special ed teacher on an intervention program, our school tries to prioritize doing that outside of academic time. So that actually leads those students to be doing more work in a school day than some of their peers. So we talked this morning about what that might look like in terms of adjusting our expectations for those particular kids from the classroom teacher side in order to allow for them to be still getting that intervention work. So we've kind of been given teacher discretion to say, you don't need to work on XYZ assignment, or you can skip this part of it because we know you have other things that you need to be doing for your intervention time. We've decided we really need to prioritize their special ed work, and we will kind of cross the bridge when we get back to school about figuring out what we need to do to get them back on track with other things.
And those special education teachers are working one-on-one via Zoom or another platform?
That's in the works.
Google Hangouts and Google Meet.
Got it.
But yes, that is our plan. And we as classroom teachers are going to be working very closely with those case managers. I know Allison and I mentioned it before, and Connie and Krista as well. Working with your team is huge. We have been on video chats with various departments in different little mini teams for hours a day trying to do what we can to support our kids.
I also just wanted to comment on the question about UA teachers, because I actually asked this question to my 5th graders this morning.
Mhm.
Our UA team has actually created one Google Classroom where they're all in one for each grade level, K through 5, and they provided suggested activities for the kids to do. So they're not actually having them do like complete assignments that are due on a certain day, but more getting them involved and keeping up their interest and getting them on Google Classroom. So most of my students this morning had already checked that, and we're using that as more of a way to relax and take a break from the academic piece.
Okay, thanks. A couple questions, and it's 4:02 now, so I understand that people need to start getting off, but I'm going to try to get the last of these questions answered, and before we end the webinar, or some of them at least. Could we talk a little bit, because I think this is important, about the transition to Zoom in Rochester? How did you do that? What did the students have to do? What did you have to do to make that happen?
Okay, well, the students didn't have to do much of anything. All of the tech was on our side. So there was something that had to happen at the administration level, which allowed it to come through Clever, which is the organizational platform that we use. But luckily, we have someone on our team who gets the tech, and you can easily set up individual meetings, but you can't easily set up that link for the Chromebooks to get it. There's this little setting way over on the left under settings about, I don't know, 27 units down that says allow another networked link to join or something like that. And that you have to click that for them to be able to get in through their Chromebooks. So that part was difficult, but we worked through it. We figured it out. And today, our science teacher figured out a way that we don't even have to keep making these individual meetings. He figured out a way to post all of our individual places, and we can just show up there and hang out, and they can come in. So, you know, it was a process and it was difficult, but I so much prefer the benefits of Zoom. And, you know, I'm not a spring chicken here. None of this tech is easy for me. Everything is difficult for me. Even getting onto this webinar, I almost didn't make it because I was trying to get the tech ready. But you just have to persevere, and you have to problem solve, persevere, and ask a lot of questions. And quite frankly, I Google a lot of stuff. So that's how we went to Zoom.
And I will say what's nice about Zoom is I have created for my PLC, for my team, all of that sort of thing, recurring meetings. And then I created for myself a Google Doc that has all my meetings listed, and then I can just click on them. And like Connie said, our science teacher today found a way in Zoom to set up our personal ID. And that means that the students only have to always go to the same one. And the controls on Zoom allow us the ability to not let the children enter the classroom without us. A lot of things like that. When we leave the classroom, they have to leave the classroom. And Google actually, just as of I think yesterday, started doing the same thing with Hangouts, but admittedly RMS had kind of already given up on them, only because this is moving so fast. And what we like about Zoom is we can see everyone at once, which Google Hangouts wasn't really allowing us the ability to do. And I know that, you know, we don't have the same problem in 6th grade, but some of the 8th graders were holding up signs that said inappropriate things and different things like that. So it was nice for the teachers to be able to see everybody all at once.
Well, that sounds great. And it sounds to me like it's good to have a little bit of control around the platform, right? Because I mean, kids are, otherwise it could also become an avenue for, abuse is a strong word, but it could certainly become an avenue for some negative socializing. How's that?
How about just shenanigans?
Oh, shenanigans. Yeah. That's a nice word.
For us.
And if you have somebody to ask, go for it. I have two, my 2 kids are stuck at home now. My son had to return from college. He's coming in all the time. He mostly created Connie and my slides for this. I'm calling him in all the time saying, here's what I want to do. And Connie's stuck looking on Google. I kind of just go to one of my kids and ask them how to do what I want to do, and they can usually figure it out. But the bottom line is really seek out help. If you need it, find somebody that knows, whether it be Google or a friend or anybody. I've done a million Zoom conferences with our principal and team leaders, and it's leaning on each other a lot.
I would agree with that. We've done a lot of that as well. I've done a lot of screen sharing on Google Meet with my with one of my teammates, or just explaining how to do something and taking it. I would also say taking it at your own pace. Just because someone else is using something, don't feel that you have to. Please go with your comfort level and give yourself some grace to learn things on your own time, just like we would with the students. Because I think that's key right now, is there's so much coming at us that we just need to take it baby steps, one step at a time, just like we're doing with the kids. We don't want to overwhelm them. We don't want to overwhelm ourselves.
Yeah.
Love that word, grace.
Yes, and it's something that'll surprise you as you play around. My mom is actually a college professor, and she and her school are using Zoom, and she had reached out to me. Just, Krista, like you asked your kids, she reached out to me and said, how do I do Zoom? Can we hop on a call, and can I figure it out, and can you play with it with me? And I got on a call with her, and she already has multiple different backgrounds she's using, and like all these crazy things that I didn't even know how to do. So as you play around with it, and again, just like Allison was saying too, learn it at your own pace. I feel like I've learned more in the last 2 weeks than I have in the last 2 months. It's very overwhelming. It's very exhausting, but the kids are really flexible. We've had to change the way we're doing things because we found a new way. And so we told them, like, I figured out a new way to do this that I think is going to work better for me and for you. And so this is what we're doing now. And I had a student respond to one of those comments and say, oh, thank you so much for learning new things for us. I hope that it's going well. And I was like, oh, it was the sweetest thing. So be patient with yourself, be patient with your kids, be open to surprising yourself, and let them surprise you too, because they really do understand that this is hard for all of us.
Oh, so well said. So well said. I have unmuted Amy in the chat because her hand was up. So Amy, if you wanted to contribute, go for it. I'm going to go down now, and I'm going to look for the hands in the chat and maybe unmute a couple people. If you, Cynthia, I'm unmuting you. In case anybody wants to contribute or ask questions before we go.
So I just had a question about your attendance sheet. I was pretty intrigued with that because this is just our first week in Nashua. I'm in Nashua. I'm a 5th grade teacher. And so we're literally on day 3. And so I'm sure if you can remember yourself when you were on day 3, we're just trying to figure out who's here, who's not here, who's working, who's not working. It's kind of crazy. Emailing parents, some reply, some don't. We've got lots of different languages being spoken. So, you know, just dealing with all that. So I was thinking, what a great idea for your template to actually say, hey, at least just check in here. Tell me you're here today. You've checked in. What would be the best way? Because I'm not very techno savvy, but I'm learning to manage that. Like, what would you say? Where in Google Classroom should I put that? What kind of form should I use?
Google form.
Use a Google form.
Use Google
Yep.
Forms. And what we discovered is ask the question, your last name, your first name.
Mhm.
That way it'll be organized for you and it would be easy for you to take your attendance from it. And then we usually ask some other question or
Okay.
sometimes make them like think about a goal or something like that. But
Okay.
we figured out process of time that last name and first name being your first two answers is a really important aspect of Google Forms. And
Okay,
it
great.
sets it
And-
all up for
and-
you and tells you who was there.
Okay.
And I've used Google Form. I did an entry ticket today based on the fact that my videos didn't seem to be watched. And on the entry ticket, I built in things like at the four minute mark on my instructional video yesterday, what did I say? Or in the instructional video I posted today, in the middle of it, I said, by the way, the keyword is bananas. And next time I ask you what the keyword is, be ready to say bananas.
Oh, what
You know,
a
and
great
little things like
idea.
that.
Okay.
Yeah, to make
that's-
sure they're watching and doing stuff. And we're just trying to change up the questions we ask. I think there was one today on what is their favorite candy. We're really just trying to make sure that they're reading through things and that they're answering things. I had on Google Forms, it will show you responses as a separate tab. And I went through those responses pretty carefully.
Oh, great. Thank you very much.
Amy, just I also want to tell you that tomorrow there's a webinar. We're putting on a webinar in the morning at 10 o'clock that will help you with Google Forms if you want. So
Oh, great. Yes, at 10 o'clock. I mean, technically that's my office hours, but at this point, those have all gone out the window. So
yeah, and we have a recording of them all. I want to acknowledge that it is 4:12. So anyone that needs to get off the webinar, certainly feel free. We will not be insulted. But I am going to stay on just so that a couple other people can ask questions. And but don't feel free to log off if you need to. Cynthia, are you on? I think I've unmuted you. Did you want to ask a question? Oh, okay, I'm going to keep going down. Who else had questions or comments? Kristen. Kristen, I actually can't unmute you. And I'm just going to go down to the rest, see if anybody else has their hand raised. Okay, it looks like no one else has raised their hand. Does anyone have any parting thoughts, or are we good to go?
Thank
Good.
you. We covered it from our end of things. I'll just say good luck to everybody. And again, just remember, you know your students best. So do what's best for them. Really also do what's best for you. They can't do their best work if we can't give them our best too. So make sure you're taking care of yourself as well as you're taking care of them.
See, I'm not perfect at it, but I just laugh a lot.
That's my philosophy as well.
A lot of what's happening. Okay, let's just
Okay.
figure it out. See what happens.
That's my goal. I want to let you all know that tomorrow that we have, you can sign up for our webinars for tomorrow if you want. All you need to do is go to our website at Demonstrated Success. You can see the picture in the right-hand corner, the Google Demonstrated Success. And once you're there, go to the Workshops and Webinars tab. And in that tab, there is a tab that says Virtual Teaching in New Hampshire. And you can register for the Thursday and Friday webinars. Tomorrow morning is all about virtual assessment. And then tomorrow afternoon, we have a kindergarten conversation about practices. And on Friday, we have a guest presenter who will talk a little bit about supporting ESL students during this time. So that's there for you. And we will be sending you, within a couple of hours, you should receive an email that has a link to the recording and a certificate, which I think you'll get right away when you log out. And there's a link to a file that we've set up in Google Classroom with materials, questions from the webinar, the PowerPoint itself. And if you would like to ask these wonderful teachers any more questions, I can get you in touch with them. No problem. So feel free to email me. One last question I see here. Do you return the attendance? Where to file it? I think the information goes into a spreadsheet.
Yes.
So anyway, I'm gonna close down, and we will write the answers to the rest of the unanswered questions and post them. So thank you very, very much, everyone, for joining us. And thank you to our wonderful teachers, all 4 of you. You did a great job, and there was a lot of valuable information here. So,
Bye now.
For having us.
take good
Thank
care, okay? All
Yep.
right. Be well, all.
Bye.
Bye.